Hey everybody, Greg Pruitt here with Idaho Dispatch, and we are live, and I apologize, you're going to hear a lot of horns here as we are live in Driggs at the No Kings rally. I appreciate you guys tuning and watching in. I know there are 13 other rallies planned across Idaho. We are also going to be at the Idaho Falls one here later today. But for now, we figured we'd travel up to Driggs. We didn't know, it's a small town, but Driggs does tend to have a lot of retirees who, from my understanding, tend to lean a little bit more liberal. And so we're going to go. We'll show you guys the protesters, some of the signs. If somebody is willing to talk, then we'll certainly try to talk to folks. The hard part will be because of the car horn honking, it may get difficult at times to hear kind of what's going on. So let me go ahead and flip the camera. This is one of the first protests, I think, in the state for the No Kings protest. So I'm going to try and get my camera flipped there. So just from a distance, you guys can see there's, I don't know, I would say at least 100, maybe more total, because they're on all four corners of Main Street here in Driggs. So if you've never been here before, it's a nice little town, but this should be interesting. So I'll show you this car right here. You guys can see some of the signs, in case, I don't know if you can read some of that, but Mad Pummel's politics for president. Musk is the immigrant who stole your job. How about a Musk family picture? Trump deports families and imports wives. I actually don't even know what that means. Take a long shot of the Trump coin. We've seen some pretty interesting ones. RFK Jr. mentally, they're supposed to say deranged. Interesting. Anyway, what do you got there, Senator Crapo and Risch? Is there anything in particular?
Well, every time I write to my senators, they tell me that whatever I am viewing my dissident views on is basically a mandate by the voters, and that they have to pretty much go along with whatever the Trump administration wants to do because it's a mandate by the voters. But there's no mandate for sneaking things into the big beautiful bill, such as the executive branch doesn't have to be beholden to the courts, which is in there.
Okay.
And so that's tyranny.
Okay.
So I think Senators Crapo and Risch, they need to read that big beautiful bill, and then they need to read the Constitution.
Okay. All right. Thank you for your time. Alright, so just trying to walk down. You can see the No Kings signs here. And I don't know who organized this one. Each of the No Kings protests were supposed to be organized just by someone in the local community. See a sign there, it says release the Epstein files, which I think people on both sides wouldn't mind the Epstein files being released. But this is the main logo here of the No Kings. This particular logo here is the people putting this on. I do notice maybe more American flags than you typically see at liberal rallies. The No Kings organizers did encourage them to, although there's the main LGBT flag there, but the main organizers of the No Kings rallies did ask that American flags be brought to the rallies. So we'll try to go to all four quarters of the protest here.
My brother moved there. It's kind of funny. I was bullshitting with
Cross.
I got this time.
Is it gonna try and go across here? Oh, yep, it does. Okay, so we're gonna go across to the other corner here. Sorry, what's that? Oh, I didn't see that. Okay.
Yeah, that's a good.
All right, I'm gonna take a video of this. Whatever. Excuse me. I'm gonna poop on Donald's parade. It's like metal giraffe. Looks like all metal. Be silent. Your money about them out.
What's the Idaho Dispatch?
Just independent news organization here in Idaho.
Is it a website or print?
Yeah,
or both?
no, just website.
Just Google it.
Yeah.
Idaho Dispatch. Okay.
Yeah. So, what are you here today for?
What am I here?
Yeah.
To show support with everybody who does not like where things are going politically these days.
Okay.
If I had to say my primary issues would be public land stuff,
Public lands.
right? Like, don't even consider the option of, I mean, there's some teeny weeny slivers of public land that I could see outside Las Vegas or some things like that. But some of the stuff they're proposing, I'm definitely against.
Okay.
We did our public lands issue. I think one big bill looks good for some people, but it really looks bad for some people, depending upon what
Is that kind of how Congress always is? It seems like.
Well, yeah.
There's always every bill in there has got a whole bunch of pork and stuff in it. Yeah.
You know, what's a landslide victory election in history that we've had?
When did you just go
54 to 46 or something like that. So no matter when, good times or bad, almost half the people are, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Not happy now.
Yeah.
Something's funny with that, right? I don't know how to look at the answer.
Sure.
But we need to find a way that more people are happy with election outcomes and stuff going on.
How do you do that when there's such a divide, right? And like you said, the country's almost split 50-50.
Yep.
This is a very red state compared to California, which is a deep blue state.
Correct.
So how at any point, especially at the congressional level, do you solve that issue?
Well, you'll have to edit this long pause out.
Oh, we're live, so you're good.
Oh, you are?
Take your time. Take your time. Yeah, you're fine.
Well, I think that the Electoral College is not helpful. I think when a majority of the people in the country vote one way, that shouldn't be. But because of the Electoral College, we're going to mix it up and do it a different way. So, and I think the gerrymandering clean that up. Clean up the voting. Clearly Democrats had an apathy and a lack. Less people voted for Donald Trump in this election than voted for Joe Biden in the last election. Less people voted in this election by 10 million people or something like that.
Yeah.
Which that's just wrong. And people.
What do you mean it's wrong though? Like the people didn't turn out to
so
vote.
So many people chose not to vote.
Oh, okay.
They didn't choose to vote, but something about the 2020 election drove people to the polls in a better way. I wasn't, a lot of people weren't inspired by Biden and Kamala, or confused, or complacent, and the margins that we lost by, the margins that were decisive in the victory, they weren't, they were so slim, and they were when Biden won. They were slim then.
Yeah.
So, so we've got these pendulum swings that we need to even out, right? Like, everybody's agitated over here, everybody's agitated over here, We need to get more people, focus on the more important issues. We'll see. I don't know. I think there was a lot of unpredictable things unleashed in this since the last election that I don't know where a lot of things are going. I don't know violence comes out of this cycle.
Sure.
And alters the course, changes that trajectory.
Okay.
I'd like to see more people vote in the next election. I think the Democratic slate would win, but the Democrats really, I'm so bummed at the DNC.
Yeah.
I felt they did Bernie an injustice in 2016. At the time, I was a long-time resident of Wyoming, southeast Wyoming, not Jacksonville.
Okay.
Albany County, which is one of the almost blue counties in the state, but it's not. But Bernie wasn't even given a chance.
Yeah.
In Wyoming, where some of his pragmatism might have tipped it the other way. I don't know.
So you'd say probably both parties maybe have some, I wouldn't say corruption's the right word, but the people at the top love to control kind of who's going to run, how they're going to run, all that kind of stuff.
My wife's over there, I could get shot. I think the DNC, for shoehorning Hillary in, was very unwise. Good person, good, smart politician, whatever, just the baggage. The baggage was a flagger when I was like, oh man. And sure enough, what happens? Late October, the email drop.
Yeah.
Like, those guys, how much are we being wagged?
Yeah. Okay.
I think our eyeballs and the entertainment factor has crept in there to a level of they love this show. No offense to
it is what it is. So that's
If everybody was happy, you'd have nothing. You'd be like, what are you gonna do today?
Yeah, we didn't know traveling up here. Driggs is a small town, and I thought I don't know how many people are going to be here, but so it's interesting.
And this is a bubble, right? Like I'd like to go up to Bonner's Ferry and see what today's like.
Yeah, it'll be a lot different in the more maybe conservative areas of the state. So.
Yeah. And I say that not cynically. Like I would like to see what.
Sure.
I'm getting older, so I would like to see what everybody and talk to people.
Okay.
Awesome. Learn to talk to a person who's vehemently. I haven't.
Yeah, do you know if there's a counter protest happening here?
I do not know.
I know a lot of the locations do have them, but I haven't seen anyone yet. So
that's a really good question.
Okay.
I didn't come to the last one. My wife did. She said there were a few coal rollers.
Okay.
Going by.
Yeah.
I haven't seen one yet.
Okay. All right. Well, I appreciate your time, sir.
Yeah.
Thank you. All right. So I don't know if you guys can see. And I can't see your comments, so I apologize in advance. But try and give you a.
What's up? Just in town for a while.
So this we're in Driggs, Idaho. For those that aren't aware, this is our first No Kings protest that we're going to be covering, and it looks like a pretty decent turnout for Driggs, Idaho. One of the first in the states here, so we'll. Again, there's lots of car honking, so I apologize if you guys can't hear the people talking. I'll try to maybe encourage them to be a little bit louder when they're talking, so you guys can hear them a little bit easier. But I wanted to find someone with a fun sign. Actually, I want to talk to someone with a No King sign, so I can ask them if they were aware. How are you?
Good.
Good. He's got a No King sign there.
So I would just go.
The No Kings protest there, sir.
Yeah.
So like, did you go on their website and do all your research on the people that put it together?
To an extent, yes.
Okay.
I knew it was happening, so I just wanted to make sure what the times were. And
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah, I didn't know if a lot of people knew. There's, if you go on the website and click on partners, it's a who's who. I mean, there's like 100 organizations, and in fact, I saw yesterday that one of the Walton heiresses is a big supporter of it. Yeah, Marianne or something like that. So I was just
the oddball Walmart.
Yeah, but is that kind of, maybe some people are coming here thinking this is a grassroots effort versus clearly this was a nationwide organized effort to hold this rally.
I mean, I know that because I follow politics pretty closely.
Sure. Okay.
And so there's the NoKings.org organization that is the umbrella organization. But we've been doing protests here since the inauguration.
Okay.
So it's nothing new. And the Teton County Democratic Party sent out a couple of emails yesterday.
What would be your main issue with President Trump, I guess, up to this point in his new presidency?
Inability to follow the law.
Okay. What do you mean? Like anything in specific?
Almost no.
Nothing specifically.
He does not feel constrained by law and never has, and that's been his MO for a long time. And so he just floods the zone with BS and then tries to do whatever he wants to do.
Okay. Is that? I mean, if you talk to people on both sides, like during the Obama era, they would say Obama did the same thing. It was executive orders. It was, not following the Constitution. I mean, both sides seem to say the same thing. So how do we ever come to an agreement on?
I think you have to look at the content of the executive orders and the number of executive orders that Obama issued in the same period of time. I believe and I've got this wrong, but it's like a third less than what Trump has done. So there's significantly less number of them, and they would tended to be more straightforward policy things where it just seems to me like Trump is just trying to blow up the government. You don't run around and fire a third of every organization indiscriminately and have effective outcomes.
Yeah. Okay. How do we? And I think this is a good question, maybe for both sides. How do we get the debt under control? Our deficit is huge, right? I mean, there's no question
that
that
go up significantly based on the new.
Sure, but I mean that's both parties are responsible for increasing the debt, increasing the deficit.
That is true.
Both sides seem to have a spending problem. So how do we, without taking drastic cuts to what the government is spending, how do we ever get it under control? What would be your solution, I guess?
You do a more rational drawdown of government itself. I mean, you have to have some really hard conversations. Do you want to cut defense? Do you want to cut entitlements? Do you want USAID? Do you want to help the poor? Do you care about people eating? And those are hard questions to have. But that's how you have to get to it. And then you can't run around. And then you have to sufficiently pay for things. One of the reasons we have debts is because we don't tax enough. And you can guess who keeps cutting taxes on the rich? You raise taxes a third of the way up to where they were in the 80s, we would not have a deficit.
Okay, so you think raising taxes to what level, I guess, what would you say, on an income tax, would you think is fair for all people?
I don't know. I'd have to look into that more than
Sure.
I know off my head.
Okay.
But significantly more than it is now, and it has to be a non-progressive tax in the sense that the rich are paying more than
Okay. Yeah,
their obligation.
Yeah, so right now, I'd say the economy has been struggling for a while, and we can pin that on whoever we want to pin it on, but the reality is a lot of people are still having a hard time affording gas, they're still having a hard time affording groceries. Would raising taxes, you think, kind of have a detrimental effect at this point?
On the more wealthy, no, not at all.
But let's say that the wealthy are typically the people that have let's take the Waltons, right? You raise taxes on all the people that run Walmart. Walmart raises its prices on everything because they're going to cover the cost of those taxes.
Nah, the prices at Walmart are far more governed by the cost of the product coming into the country versus that layer of overhead. They're going to make their money regardless. The actual cost of a product, a roll of toilet paper, depends on what they pay for it and what it costs to transport it to their store.
Okay, so you're saying that raising taxes on the wealthy would not change the price of the products
I think
in stores?
That whole job maker, the wealthy are the job creators. That's bullshit. They just want money.
Okay. All right. Well, I appreciate your time. Thank you.
No worries, man. Enjoy.
Yep. All right. Hopefully you guys can hear him okay. If not, here, let me take a break real quick so I can see if... Yeah, sorry guys, I can't see your questions. I just hope you can at least hear. I was trying to get away from the main hub, so it was a little bit quieter. We haven't seen any counter protesters yet. What we might do is head down to the corner and then cross over and go see if we can find some more entertaining signs. There's a handful of people down this way. Stand with Ukraine, Mexico, and Canada. Yeah, just not... There's a counter protest somewhere. I'm not seeing it. So I don't have a count of people. Alright, so we're going to go down to the corner just so you guys can... Oh, there was a coal roller. Somebody did a coal roll. And that might be the biggest counter protest you're going to get. If you don't know what a coal roller is, it's... They get a diesel truck and they'll roll by a crowd and get the exhaust all over the place. We're going to cross the street here as soon as we can. Okay, so we're back. Got a little bit of cloud cover. I apologize. We lost our feed because my phone started overheating. It is fairly warm out here, so looks like everybody just kind of keeps crossing into different corners. What's that? Oh, yeah. I think I saw him earlier. I'm gonna try and cross to the other side. So I may have to push the button on that pole. Alright guys, we're going to try and cross over here in a sec. If I can get to the... So again, here's the end of the full crowd. You guys can see everybody. I'd say a couple hundred people for sure. I'm going to try and use my Idaho dispatch hat to keep the sun off the camera, and hopefully that will help it not overheat.
When I called, I found
That's why they're all over here, because there's shade. We'll stay on this side. Excuse me. Excuse me. Alright. Okay. That's why everybody's over here. There's shade over here. It's much better. Okay. So welcome down. There's Trump. No keys. Just trying to get you guys a shot of some of the signs over here. power to the people. Let's get a shot of the crowd here. We'll go do some more interviews in a second. Report Trump and his clowns, public lands and public hands. I apologize. Service in Driggs is not the greatest, so it may kind of buffer at times. Dog fight. Off with their heads. Oh, that's an interesting one. We definitely got to go talk to the off with their heads sign there. Let's go talk to that person. I can't see who it is. I get a shot of your dog there. All right. Let's see if I can get a closer view of the sign there. Let them eat cake on one side, and it says off with their heads on the other.
Somehow your message got through. My voicemail is full.
Just trying to get a close-up of your sign or whatever you want to call it.
It's got all the messages.
Off with their heads. Why that one? And let them eat cake.
No King's Day.
No King's Day? Okay. So what do you mean with off with their heads?
I mean, you know about the French Revolution?
Yeah.
So, you know, and I'm kind of dressed as Marie Antoinette.
Sure.
Let them eat cake off with their heads.
Okay.
Seems
They meant that literally in the French Revolution.
right.
Is that? Do you mean it literally or just?
Are you an agitator? I think I'm done talking with you. Thanks.
I was asking a question.
Oh, you're just asking questions. Okay, dude.
No, I was just asking.
Okay. I'm just asking questions. You're just asking questions.
Yeah, I'm not agitating. We can have
what you are.
We can have a conversation.
I know
Okay.
what you are.
All right, have a good one.
Beat it.
This First Amendment, right? We're all here together.
Yeah, and I can tell you to beat it.
Yeah, you can. That doesn't mean I'm going to beat it, but you can. Sure.
Oh, look at this side thing. Look at that thing.
They don't want to block their entrance here, I guess, but interesting that her calling me an agitator when some of these people we know are these are all paid. Yeah, so maybe the only one here advocating for violence, who knows? We'll go back down this way.
He's actually at the College of Idaho.
Hands off my data. That one's interesting. I don't know. What's the hands off my data? What's that one about?
Well, this was way back when Musk was coming in and trying to get all our data. Well, now he's already got it. So it's a little quaint.
So you mean like the citizens' data being reviewed by private citizens, or is that what you're talking about?
Being confiscated by private citizens. I thought we were trying to protect our data from all of the corporations, but no, we just give it to private citizens, someone we never even elected.
Yeah, there's quite a few unelected bureaucrats in Washington, D.C.
Well, also, I really think Musk has inserted some malware within our
government services. He was given free reign with a bunch of young kids that had no oversight whatsoever. And I think that they are mining all of our information. And I think that they will use it to benefit those people that agree with them and to harm people that don't agree with them.
Okay. So do you have evidence that there's malware, or just something you think is happening?
That's my personal conspiracy theory.
Sure. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
We'll see.
Why do you think he wants all our data?
I'm a journalist with the Idaho Dispatch, so I'm just asking questions, talking to people. So
I mean, that's the question: is why does he need our data? Why does he want our data?
Okay.
And you, my friend, very quiet over here in this corner.
Yeah. Oh. Yeah. Awesome. Well, thank you guys for your time.
Sure. Thank you.
I guess if you know what you're doing,
Can't see what their signs say. Dump Trump. So how would you dump Trump now that he's elected?
Impeach.
Impeach? Again?
Again.
Okay.
As many times as it takes.
So I had a kind of a curious question. This is the No Kings protest, which is nationwide, right? They're all over. I think there's 14 locations here in Idaho, and some of the commenters said, but if we had a king, he wouldn't be allowing you to protest. What would be your response to that? I guess
If we had a king,
the kings don't allow their subjects to go out and protest against them.
no reason for no kings.
That will come eventually if we keep trying.
Okay, so you think maybe by the end of 4 years he would not allow you to have a protest?
He's trying right now.
How's he doing it right now? What do you mean?
He only referred to himself as the king once. Long live the king after he saved Manhattan from one of the taxes that they were going to impose. And so, it was an offhand comment. But it's clear from just observation that he wants to get his way regardless, and that's kind of kingly. So we're just protesting against the general attitude that he exhibits about always wanting to have his way, getting back at his perceived enemies, that type of thing. He's not really a king. He's not a king.
Okay.
He knows he's not a king. But it's a metaphor for what we see his actions look like.
Okay.
That's my opinion.
Sure. Okay. How do you? So I remember during the Obama years, conservatives had a lot of the same concerns. They said Obama was acting like a dictator. He was a tyrant. He did all these things. Again, I'm just giving you the conservative perspective. That's how they viewed Obama. Now, after 8 years, obviously we went through Trump and then Biden and now Trump again. Do you think that sometimes the rhetoric can be overblown or overused? I mean, by the end of 4 years, do you guys really believe like Trump's going to have you all behind bars? He's going to execute people, or?
I don't believe that. I think there's enough of sensible people in America that will say enough is enough at a certain point. I'm hopeful that the Congress will do their job. We're supposed to have 3 branches of government, and it appears that the Republicans in Congress are willing to let Trump do whatever he wants. And there are some actions that seem to have kind of stepped on the toes of the congressional branch of government. But so far, we don't see people resisting that.
Okay.
I'm hopeful that as time goes on, that the 3 branches of government will all balance each other. And that's what they're supposed to do. It doesn't feel very balanced right now to me, but I'm hopeful that we have enough people that are sensible that will say, hey, that's the Congress's job, and we need to do our job. And so there can be more balance. It doesn't seem very balanced to me.
Okay.
That's all.
Gotcha. Okay.
That makes
All
sense?
right. Yeah. I appreciate your time. Thank you.
bet.
What's happening? Something happening? All right. So what we'll do is we'll head back down the other direction. And I know a few of you guys had that question about kings, and kings don't let their subjects protest, so that guy at least didn't seem to think that it was a literal thing. I apologize. Once I start honking the horn, it makes it hard to hear. We'll go to the other corner over there. Guess you can see all four owners there. Looks like some of the crowd is dispersed. I don't know how long. There was no time frame on this protest, so I don't know how long they were going to be here, but I'm able to kind of see the comments right now, so if you guys have any other questions or anybody else you want me to go talk to, let me know. Coal roller. You pushed it, right? Let's just be slow.
Okay, mission accomplished. I found Jan. She's over there, and I told her you'd wave to her. she's like halfway down the.
Cross over here in just a minute, guys. It's kind of a slow.
She's like halfway down the building.
Slow traffic light.
Yeah.
The only one in Driggs. I think it is.
It's an interesting rig.
That is definitely a DIY camper. So nice and chocolate. Yes, you too.
See the more people on this side because there's some shade over here. So.
Okay, sounds great. Love you. Bye-bye.
Try to back out of the way. Trying to look for the most interesting signs. Let me go see this big sign over here, or this tall one with a bunch of stuff on it. All right, so if you can't read it, just because I can't tell on my phone, it says, excuse me. It says, keep the immigrants, deport the racist. He is not law and order. He has 88 criminal charges. Happy birthday, criminal. It is Trump's birthday today, by the way. All right, any particular message you want to say, talk about? Anything in particular that brought you out here today?
Well, my father was a diplomat. I came from London.
Okay.
I've lived here since 1974.
In Idaho, or just in America?
Well, in Idaho 20 years, and
Okay.
I was in Massachusetts before that.
I know, I have
But what my father said during the war, he was the most highly decorated Royal Air Force pilot in England. And he said, thank God for the Japanese. Why did he say that? Remember, they were our enemy. He said that because then the Americans came into the war because the Japanese bombed Pearl Harbor.
Okay.
Anyway, I'm a U.S. citizen and I love this country, and I'm very, very worried about Trump because all he wants to do is make money for the billionaires.
Okay. Okay. All right. Thank you. I'm gonna go down this way a little further. Maybe the car honking won't be so bad. Well, that's a different sign than the rest of them. It goes down, I don't know, halfway down the sidewalk there. Oh, the big tall one. Yeah, maybe. She was talking to people. I didn't want to interrupt, but let's see what this one says. Eggs are expensive because the chickens are in Congress. Well, you probably wouldn't find too much disagreement there with either side. If I stay in the shade, then I won't get my phone overheated. Anyway, this is Greg Pruitt here with the Idaho Dispatch. I hope you guys will be willing to support the Idaho Dispatch. You can go to idahodispatch.com/support. Just trying to bring you at least 2 of the protests today. Hold on. Anyway, so we're here in Driggs, Idaho, kind of a small town up right up at the base of the Tetons, basically. And then this afternoon we'll be at the Idaho Falls one. But several hundred people, I would say, maybe 300 or so total. It's hard to say. I've been walking around. I'm not really trying to count, but. And this is the No Kings rally. This is put on by pretty much every liberal national group out in the country that has put these rallies together. Each community, I think, was responsible for having someone, organize the event. Some events have speaking engagements, like the one in Boise today. Here in a little bit at the Capitol, we'll have speakers and stuff. Some of these smaller ones are probably going to just be people showing up and doing sign waves and stuff. So we haven't found any counter protesters, but there were a couple vehicles that came through and did a coal roll. I think I've seen 2 or 3 of those happen so far. So but yeah, definitely some interesting protesters. So we only had one that decided I was a paid agitator, even though I tried to have a conversation with her, and of course she's the only one with a sign that's saying "off with their heads." So of course I'm the paid agitator, not the person with a sign promoting violence. Yeah, definitely not her. No Kings in America. So quite a few different No King signs around. It's hard to see. Yes, yeah, Rigby's a very pretty town, a very nice town. It may look a lot better here in a few hours when all of this is gone. But the understanding I have of this area is that a lot of people that could not live up in Wyoming, in the ritzier parts of Wyoming, have turned Driggs into the that part of Idaho for down in this area. So that's my understanding of kind of what's happened around here so far. So I think I'm gonna go try and talk to this gal right here with her sign. So just trying to get a closer. All right. So anything in particular that brought you out today? Just overall don't like Trump, or is there specific things that...
The immigration thing is it's really what set me off the most.
Okay.
The deportations and the raids, ICE. And then we're in town visiting friends from North Carolina, and when there's a good protest, I'm going to be there.
Oh, okay, so you guys aren't from Idaho?
No, sir.
Oh, okay, all right. So I got a question, though. So on your sign on the other side there, you said, Donald Trump is not law and order. Would some would say, like, the illegal immigrants who are here illegally are not following the law either. So how do you, I guess, mesh those two things?
I'm sorry, I can't.
Is it the horn honking?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of bad. So I said, some might look at your sign and say, Trump is not law and order, he is not law and order. But then they're going to say the people who came here across the border illegally and didn't go through the legal process, they are also not law and order. So should they not be held accountable in the same way?
Well, they can be held accountable with due process, and that's what's not happening. So when we start doing it by the rules, that's
sure. But
it's dehumanizing what they're
sure.
doing. These are human people. They need to be treated with respect. They aren't coming in here illegally because they're all fucking criminals.
But there are some criminals, though, right? I mean, I think
it's very few.
Or I should say violent criminals.
The data doesn't play that out.
Right.
So, yeah, no, I'm not arguing data. I'm just saying there are violent criminals that are coming across the border or have in the past. So,
well, let's talk about law and order. He is a criminal. Donald Trump has 88 criminal charges. 88.
Yeah.
He's been impeached twice. He got convicted of rape. And we want to sit here and talk about law and order? Give me a break.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. All right. Thanks for your time.
Woo!
Oh boy. Yeah.
They were definitely.
What time is it? Well, I think they might wrap it up here.
I love the other one too.
Smells like fashion. Yeah, let us know in the comments if you guys are going to attend any of these rallies or protests or whatever you want to call them, or if you're going to be attending a counter protest. There are a lot of tourists that come here, so I don't know how many. That gal was from North Carolina. I don't know how many are from out of state. There are usually a ton of tourists here because of the Tetons, people heading into Wyoming and stuff. So you could have quite a few here that are not from Idaho necessarily, but I don't know. I didn't ask, most of the people I was talking to. So anyway. I think we'll wrap it up for now and head back towards Idaho Falls, and then we will be at the Idaho Falls protest in a little bit. So if you guys can, again, support the Idaho Dispatch, idahodispatch.com/support. Give us your support, and we'd love to keep going and giving you guys as much coverage as possible of what's happening in Idaho politics. So with that, if we find counter protesters by chance, we'll go and do another live stream. But I just haven't seen any. So for now, we'll sign off, guys. Thank you. Take care. God bless.